This is Dr. Gigi Sabbat, and you're listening into the Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Mark. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Gigi. It's exciting to be on.
You're welcome. It's such an honor to have you back on the show, Mark. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about you and where are you from, Mark?
Well, I live in Tennessee today. I've been here the last 8 years, but I was born in California, and then lived in Texas 21 years. A little bit about myself is I was in business, 35 years, or what we call corporate America, and the last 21 years at the C level. So I reported to the CEO or presidents of the organizations. And that really increased my passion to really make sure that we had ways to develop our people. And so with that, I eventually even got into writing business books. In fact, that's when you and I met, that I wrote several leadership books and would do speaking events as that as well. And now lately, my passion with my retirement in the last year has been focused on children's books. So it's kind of like, well, why'd you go that way? But I figured that was a good thing for us to talk about.
I love it. Tell us a little bit more about your books.
Well, I believe so much on leadership that it's really a focus of all things. So even in the children's books, and in the last year and a half, I kind of retired from the business world, although I still get called. And well, I was just in Houston a few weeks ago, so sometimes it's hard to say no. But with the children's books, people ask me, well, why, or what's your passion behind that? And it's still leadership, but leadership on how do you teach children? And so I kind of explain it this way. My second book was called Leadership Lessons from Mom, and my mom had a big impact on me. And she would always tell me as a child, and even as I grew up, never let that little boy in you grow out of you. And what she meant by that, she would always tell me, and I understood it more as a teenager than as an adult, that when you're a little boy or girl, you can dream big. You think you can accomplish anything. But somewhere in life tends to tell us, no, there's struggles, there's barriers, or you can't do that. And it was important to her for me to always dream big and believe I could. And therefore, I would push through those hurdles. So with that passion, that's the same passion I put into my children's books, that if I can encourage young boys and young girls to dream big and provide ways that they can dream. But even, my books are Christian based. And so it's like, what are the values we want our young children to learn? And so we teach that in the book. We teach role modeling in the books. And it's the old saying, Gigi, that if we don't teach our children the world well, so it's like, how can I do my part? And I do that with the books. And if they can learn the right values and the values they come from leadership, right? And values help them decide what decisions they make as they go on in life. And even in the books, in the different series I have, it teaches how to get along. It teaches teamwork, and the role models lead with humility. So that's really the foundation behind my children's books.
I love it. And where can folks obtain a copy of your books?
Well, Amazon.com, Barnes and Noble. They may be in a few Barnes and Nobles out there as well, and they're just now spreading on them. And especially with like Shadow to the Rescue just came out sometime in January, and the Brock Cliffhangers is now a 6-book series. But there's even a story behind that as well, because before I retired, I never really had the energy or the time to put forth towards them. And since I retired, that's what I do now. In other words, I'm not going to retire and roll over. I want to keep my mind healthy and still where can I contribute today?
Excellent. I love it. Now, Mark, what advice do you have for an individual who is working on a book?
Well, first of all, is to get into a habits. First of all, habits are everything that drives us, and understand what habits we're weak at, and that we can, with a right mindset, start working on those habits. We all know, hopefully everyone knows the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Great book, and it works in everything we do. But with that mindset of every time we're reacting to something, because it's a reactive world, what is the mindset that I can say, okay, I reacted that time, but when it happens again, how can I be more proactive? And then how can I have a better vocabulary? I still work on my vocabulary each day. How can I come across professional? That's all about being more proactive. And then the second one is, how do I start with the end in mind, and how do I define that, and what does success look like? So it's first off, work on your habits, and then ask, how does that fit my writing with my habits there as well? Because you will get writer's block when you're at the point that you don't have writer's block and it's all there. I tell people, keep writing. I've written from 6 a.m. till 10 at night because it was all there. And and there's some days where I'm like, let me think about which way I want to go. But I think the more you push yourself, the creativity really increases.
Very true. Now, Mark, tell us a little bit more about some of the challenges that you face in your life.
Well, many challenges. I mean, you always have the personal challenges. My wife and I, she's, you put God first and then family second, and then, and so, our challenges sometimes can be health. We're getting up there. You could tell by my gray hair, I'm a baby boomer. And so, there's, how do we prepare for health concerns and for each day? And, part of my retirement was due to those health concerns, and to make sure I'm there every day for my wife. And so really building that faith around it. And then there's two things, is we encourage each other. You've been through challenges that has become your testimony. And if it's something that correlates to one of my challenge, you can share your testimony on, well, here's what got me through that. And so I've had that as well, where I've shared things on testimony to help others. Look, I've been through that. Everything hasn't been roses in my life, but with the faith and with working through it and with having other support systems, I always say, find a support system. I do that in my writing as well. You talk about having a partner that holds you accountable. So having an accountability partner in writing, or if you're in business, CEOs do that quite often. And that's why they join CEO groups.
I love it. Thank you so much, Mark. Now, Mark, do you have any last words for the audience?
Well, just really quick, my books are Shadow to the Rescue, a love story between a lost dog and a family. So it's about lost and abandoned dogs. And in the book, it walks them through, because they go through hard times, just like we talked about, and how they realize that they didn't only rescue the dog rescued them and brought them together as a family. My children's series, Brock Cliffhanger, it's called The Adventures of Brock Cliffhanger and his Junior Park Rangers, where they visit different parks. And there's a website called brockcliffhanger.com, where you can have free downloads that your children can download, and it gives them great resources to learn about the parks, especially if they're going to go visit them. But the book really teaches to following good role models and then learning about our great state and national parks. So, please feel free to venture out and look at those.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mark. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Mark's book. And Mark, thank you also so much for endorsing my first crime book, The Miracle Through the Storm, The Infinite Power of Faith. I truly appreciate you, my friend.
Oh, certainly. So we encourage each other. So
yes, sir, we do. God bless you all and be safe. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.